So the next speaker is His Excellency Francois Delattre. François Delattre, Mr. François Delattre is currently the ambassador of France to the United States, and just before that he was the ambassador of France to Canada. Before acting in embassies, Mr. Delattre was a member of a team working closely with the French President Jacques Chirac on foreign policy. And within this team, he had several responsibilities regarding European and transatlantic defense and security. He was in particular involved in the management of the Bosnian crisis in Europe. François Delattre, before that, held also several positions in the French Foreign Ministry. Please welcome His Excellency François Delattre.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So it's fine. It's great to be back in this very prestigious University of Berkeley. And quite frankly, for me as ambassador, it's good to be outside Washington the day before your election. even if I must say the vitality of the American democratic process is quite, extraordinary for a foreigner to follow. So you can be proud of the American democracy. Chancellor Birgeneau, CITRIS Director Paul Wright, Cher Jean-Louis Misica, Deputy Mayor of Paris, who's come especially from Paris to be with us today. He's an asset for France, he's an asset for Paris, and he will speak to you in a few minutes. Dear Melanie Nutter of the city of San Francisco, Cher Ami Armanat from IPRI, Cher Jean-Claude Van Duizen from EDF, Cher Michel Massy for EDF. Dear friends, it's a great pleasure for our Consul General in San Francisco, Romain Serment, and for me to be here with you this morning for this second edition of CAFIT. I would like to thank the Chancellor and the University of Berkeley for hosting us in this unique and world-class University of Berkeley. I would also like to congratulate all those who've made this event possible, this very important event possible, with a special word of thanks to our friends of CITRIS, Paul Wright and Hugues Aldridge. It's great to see you again. And to the scientific service of the French Consulate, Thomas Deschamps and his wonderful team. I'll be short, and basically I'd like to make 2 points this morning. First message, CAFET is a true model for French-American cooperation. CAFET brings together French and American policymakers, industries, startups, researchers, academics, and labs, and that's exactly what we want to promote between our two countries. Reinforcing, as you do, ties between our two countries at all levels is indeed a clear priority. First, because France and the US share the same interests, for example, in the field of intellectual property, which is a growing priority for all of us. Second, because when we join together our resources and talents, there are numerous on both sides, we become stronger and better. Let me say that the very promising sister city partnership between Paris and San Francisco in terms of energy efficiency, in terms of sustainability, is a very good illustration of this, as demonstrated by Paris Mayor Bertrand Delanoë's very successful visit to San Francisco 5 weeks ago. It was at the end of September. In this regard, I commend the University of Berkeley for its commitment to developing French-American cooperation. The French Berkeley Fund is one of the most, if not the most, efficient academic program cooperation in the United States. UC Berkeley has launched new partnerships with French universities in the last 2 years, with Supaéro and Paris Sorbonne in particular. And the sooner the better, we will have the pleasure of signing a very important MOU between Paris and San Francisco. This MOU will be the first of its kind, and it will pave the way for a new joint lab between Berkeley and INRIA, among other partners, in Paris and then in San Francisco. So that was my first point. My second message is that France is quickly moving forward. If you ask me today what is the priority of my country, I would answer without any hesitation that innovation is the number 1, number 2, and number 3 priority. No doubt about it. That's why, for example, we in France established a few years ago 71 innovation clusters, bringing together the American way, the industry, the private sector, and our universities. For the same reason, we established in France the highest R&D tax credit in the industrialized world. In the same vein, we put in place in my country what we call the Investment for the Future program, allowing $60 billion to be invested in a few years, mostly on higher education and the key segments of research. And I belong to a family of researchers myself, so it's my very top priority as ambassador, but also personally, and to promote innovation cooperation between the two sides of the Atlantic. And what is very interesting for you to note is that this unprecedented effort in terms of innovation in my country is going, so to speak, hand in hand with a booming entrepreneurship. Over the last year, we founded in France more than 600,000 new businesses. 600,000 new businesses. And it's counterintuitive when we read the American press, where it's not front page, I must say. But this booming entrepreneurship has a lot to do with the fact that the younger generations in my country, instead of knocking on my door, instead of knocking on the government's door, they tend to roll up their sleeves, start a business, fail because c'est la vie, start again, and at the end of the day succeed. And it says a lot also about the fact that the government, the key cities like Paris, made a great deal of effort to cut red tape. And today in my country, you can start a business, when it's a small business, in 15 minutes online. A lot of French startups are present today in this room alongside high-tech, big and very successful companies. And here I want to thank EDF. I have many friends, Eric Bray and many other friends of EDF who are here with us this morning, EDF and Orange. Two, again, very successful French companies, flagships, so to speak, for French ability to innovate. And the startups who are here with them are also very dynamic, innovative, and full of talent and ambition. So in conclusion, let me tell you that you are right, all of you, to believe in my country, to believe in my country's future. And the French-American partnership is the strongest when it walks on the two legs, the leg of shared values, shared history, culture on one side, but also the leg of innovation, growth, entrepreneurship on the other side. And make no mistake about it, we as a country are, will be, and want to stay on the winning side of globalization. And as you may know, pardon my French, entrepreneur, after all, is a French word. So let me thank you again, and I wish you a great seminary. I know you will embrace many, many issues having to do with smart cities, and these key issues will embrace many fields and technologies, and I hope they will lead to concrete solutions and new opportunities. Alors, bon travail à vous tous, and many, many thanks to each and every one of you. Merci.